Three candidates to contest in Pulai parliamentary by-elections. Prime Minister satisfied with performance of government agencies. Salam Malaysia Madani, welcome to Updates at Noon. I'm Jessica Lee. The Pulai parliamentary by-elections will witness a three-cornered fight between Pakatan Harapan PH, Perikatan Nasional PN and an independent candidate. They are former Johor State Assembly Speaker Suhaizan Kayat from PH, Zulkifli Jaafar from PN and Samsudin Muhammad Fauzi. Now, there are about 2,500 police personnel were deployed in the area to maintain order today. Metal barricades and barbed wires were set up to separate supporters of contesting parties to prevent provocations and any untoward incidents. Now, there are 166,653 eligible voters for the Pulai parliamentary by-election and 40,379 eligible voters for the Simpang Jeram state seat. The electoral roll used for the by-election is the latest supplementary electoral roll updated as of July 2023. Meanwhile, in Muar, the Simpang Jeram by-election is also set to be a three-cornered fight between PH Nazri Abdul Rahman, PN's Dr. Muhammad Mazri Yahya and independent candidate S. Jagannathan. Election Commission Returning Officer Jamil Hasni Abdullah said that he received and accepted the nominations of the three candidates at 10:13 a.m.
Saya berpuas hati memutuskan tiada yang ditolak kertas penamaannya. Yang pertama, Dr. Mazri Yahya daripada Parti Perikatan Nasional. Yang kedua, Insinyur Teknologis Haji Nazri daripada Parti Pakatan Harapan. Yang ketiga, Jagannathan daripada Parti Bebas.
Berita Nasional BN Chairman Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi has given an assurance that the party machinery will continue to work together with Pakatan Harapan or PH to ensure victory for candidates from the Unity Government Alliance in Johor. Now, he is also confident that BN and PH are ready to face the Pulai parliamentary by-election and Simpang Jeram state by-election because the alliance had forged a solid and firm togetherness in the state.
Yang penting di negara kita ini kebersamaan dan kesefahaman di antara pelbagai kaum, pelbagai agama dan budaya mesti diwujudkan supaya tidak timbul racial prejudice atau prasangka ras di negara kita. Dan ini penting, yang kita mahu bentuk ialah sebuah negara Malaysia Madani dengan kepelbagian kaum tanpa kita meninggalkan pun keindukan bangsa di negara ini.
He added that the coalition will need to work hard to convince voters and its grassroots that the cooperation with PH is for the good of every Malaysian. Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid said the political landscape in Johor is very different and the level of togetherness in the unity government is now more solid and stronger than before. Now, some of the nation's most pressing issues, including growing poverty and inequality in society, can be tackled by way of new approaches and solutions. Now, Perak ruler Sultan Nazrin Muizzuddin Shah said that one of the approaches is to empower youths with their efforts to help the young, old and marginalized to overcome the structural and systemic obstacles they face. This, Sultan Nazrin said, can be achieved by providing a platform such as the Merdeka Award Grant for International Attachment, which was established in 2012 to provide those under the age of 35 with the opportunity to design solutions and drive change to address some of the nation's most pressing needs.
The grant is awarded every other year to highly qualified and deserving younger Malaysians to allow them to pursue projects at internationally recognized institutions in order to develop their own expertise and to expand their networks. In turn, this will enhance their ability to contribute positively to our society.
Thus, Sultan Nazrin said, if Malaysians are to change the narrative to ensure a more sustainable future for all, then one must address the growing concerns over social inclusion and environmental conservation today. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim expressed his satisfaction with the performance shown by government agencies during his 8-month administration. Now, taking the example of Amanah Raya Berhad or Amanah Raya, Datuk Seri Anwar said the agency under the Finance Ministry had displayed good performance under his management.
Hampir 8 bulan dalam kerajaan untuk hari negara ini, saya bangga kerana saya meneropong, menelusuri tiap agensi dan minta dipantau teliti kalau ada apa-apa kecurangan, ketirisan, kerusakan, terutama berskala besar.
Speaking at the 100th Amanah Raya anniversary and the launch of a special 100th anniversary logo at Bukit Kiara last night, the Prime Minister also stressed that Amanah Raya has a heavy responsibility in holding the trust of the poor, persons with disabilities and orphans. He said this is because if they do not shoulder the responsibility for such groups, well, it is considered a betrayal to religion. In this regard, Datuk Seri Anwar wants all parties to be ready with him to carry out a paradigm shift in the effort to uphold the dignity of the nation. He said the change for the better is a matter demanded by Islam while leaving the bad aspects which are destructive to the country. He said all parties should be ready to accept the fact that the world is changing, which requires several new measures with continued positive features apart from leaving the negative and destructive behind. Now, the government has not made any decision to increase the price of rice following the halt of exports by exporting countries. Acting Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Minister Datuk Armizan Muhammad Ali said an ongoing study is being conducted to ensure appropriate actions can be taken to maintain the stability of food prices in the country. Speaking to reporters after an event in the Papa district, he said the government was aware of issues that the country might face when it depended on food sources from abroad. Therefore, Datuk Armizan said that for the long term, efforts are underway to encourage paddy cultivation throughout the country. Apart from paddy, he said the government also recognized the need to initiate cultivation of other crops, most which are imported, to ensure local supply remains available.
Pandangan kerajaan negeri supaya ada mapping dibuat untuk mengetahui tebu sesuai tanam di mana, avokado sesuai tanam di mana, dan saya serah kepada kerajaan negeri.
He also believes that Sabah and Sarawak can be the pioneer suppliers of certain food sources and do not necessarily need to depend on the peninsula. Now, innovation can serve as a societal equalizer and growth engine for Malaysia to revitalize the economy as the country has the right conditions prepared in the form of reliable infrastructure, committed resources, adaptable workforce and political will. Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli said fostering entrepreneurship among the youths can also be an effective way to sow the seed of an innovation culture to build a great nation.
Of good young professionals who spend some time and then were confident enough to strike it on their own and added value and innovation to the industry as a whole. We want more to take risks to build their products, their teams.
In addition, Rafizi said entrepreneurial mindset could also empower small and medium enterprises to compete globally and develop the B40 community and social entrepreneurs. The two men were charged in the Ipoh Magistrates Court yesterday on 4 counts of drug trafficking involving more than 400 kilograms worth more than 30.6 million ringgit. The accused were jointly charged with trafficking over 400 kilograms of the drug Aramine 5 in a house in Jalan Sri Klebang 2, Bandar Baru Sri Klebang, Cemor, near Ipoh at 9:15 a.m. on the 15th of August. Now, no plea was recorded after the charge was read out to them before Magistrate S. Punita. The court then set 16th of November for mention. In another magistrate's court before Magistrate Jessica Dimes, both the accused pleaded not guilty to a charge of possessing 2 imitation firearms and 2 magazines. Now, they were jointly charged with possessing an imitation HK416 with 1 magazine and 1 imitation HK MP5 with 1 magazine at 9:30 a.m. at the same location and date. The charge framed under Section 36, subsection 1 of the Arms Act 1960 provides a maximum prison sentence of 1 year or a fine not exceeding 5,000 ringgit or both upon conviction. The court then set 6th of October for mention. Up next in our foreign segment, Danish government readies bill to stop Quran burning. Now, the Danish government said on Friday it was proposing legislation that would make it illegal to burn copies of the Quran in public places, part of the Nordic countries' effort to de-escalate tensions with Muslim countries. Denmark and Sweden have seen a string of protests in public in recent weeks where copies of the Quran have been burned or otherwise damaged, prompting outrage in Muslim nations which have demanded the Nordic governments put a stop to the burnings. The government rejected protests by some Danish opposition parties that said banning Quran burnings would infringe on free speech. Danish Justice Minister Peter Hummelgaard did not say when he is expected Parliament to vote on the bill. Now, neighbouring Sweden has also said it is examining ways to legally limit Quran desecrations to reduce tensions after recent threats that led the country's security officials to raise the terrorist threat level. At least 13 people, including 7 children, were killed Friday in a crowd stampede at a stadium in the Madagascar capital of Antananarivo, according to the country's Red Cross and a local member of parliament. MP Hanitra Raza Fimanansoa also said that nearly 110 others were injured in the incident. The stampede occurred at the entrance to the Berita Stadium, where a crowd of around 50,000 spectators had arrived to attend the opening ceremony of the Indian Ocean Island Games. The cause of the tragedy was not immediately known, but the Red Cross said the toll could climb. Ansa Mirado, a communications manager with the Red Cross, said there were a lot of people at the entrance which triggered a stampede. Now, TV broadcast images of dazed and shocked people trying to locate their shoes piled amongst objects lost in the deadly crush. Now, other images from inside the stadium shared on social media showed the stands packed with spectators. The Indian Ocean Island Games are a multidisciplinary competition being held in Madagascar until the 3rd of September. They have been staged every 4 years in different islands in the Southwest Indian Ocean for around 40 years. Now, Turkey's and Ukraine's foreign ministers said on Friday that other export options for Ukrainian grain, other than the Black Sea grain deal, which ended after Russia quit last month, were less optimal. Now, the deal brokered by Turkey and the United Nations last year had allowed the safe Black Sea export of Ukrainian grain. Ankara has been trying to persuade Moscow to return to the agreement. Ukraine announced earlier this month a humanitarian corridor in the Black Sea to release cargo ships that have been trapped in its port since Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine on the 24th of February 2022. Now, the first vessel that used the corridor arrived in Istanbul last week. In a news conference during his visit to Kiev, Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan said renewing the Black Sea grain deal was a priority for Ankara and that Russia must be included in the equation for a functioning agreement. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba said Kiev is working on alternative routes, but that the Black Sea grain deal was the optimal solution. Now, the Kremlin said on Friday that Western suggestions that Wagner mercenary boss Yevgeny Prigozhin had been killed on his orders in a plane crash were an absolute lie, while declining to definitively confirm his death, citing the need to wait for test results. Western politicians and commentators have suggested, without evidence, that Putin ordered Prigozhin killed to punish him for launching a failed June 23rd to 24th mutiny against the army's top brass, which also represented the biggest challenge to Putin's own rule since he came to power in 1999. Now, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said the accusation and many others like it were false. Now, Russian investigators have opened a probe into what happened, but have not yet said what they suspect caused the plane to suddenly fall from the sky northwest of Moscow, nor have they officially confirmed the identities of the 10 bodies recovered from the wreckage. In 2023 World Championship semis. First up is football. Selangor FC fought back from 2-0 down to hand Kelantan FC a footballing lesson by hammering the home team 11-2 in last night's only Super League match at the Sultan Mohammed IV Stadium in Kota Baru. Aaron Del Valle and Richmond Boyaki starred for the Red Giants as they scored 4 and 3 goals each to help coach Tan Cheng Ho's men return with all 3 points. Now, Homesters Kelantan, plagued by various off-field issues, stunned their more renowned rivals by going 2-0 up through goals by Nathaniel Saringo, who converted a penalty in the 5th minute, and Muhammad Fazrul Amir Zaman in the 14th minute. Then it was all one way as Selangor came alive. The Red Giants' goals were scored by Yohandri Orozco in the 28th minute, Sharul Nazim Zulpaka in the 32nd, Del Valle in the 41st, 44th, 63rd, 87th, Buake in the 48th, 78th and 86th, and Muhammad Faisal Abdul Halim in the 50th, 53rd minute. Now, the big win sees Selangor strengthening their grip on second spot in the standings with 49 points from 22 matches, now 6 ahead of third place Kedah Darul Aman FC, who have 2 matches in hand. On to international football. Cristiano Ronaldo recorded a hat-trick and Sadio Mane scored twice to lead Al Nassr to an easy 5-0 defeat of Al Fateh on Friday in Saudi Pro League action. Now, after assisting on Mane's opening score in the 27th minute, the Portuguese star tallied the next 2 to give Nassr a 3-0 lead and added a third goal late in second half injury time for his 63rd career hat-trick. Sadio Mane opened up the scoreboard for the visitors early in the 27th minute from Ronaldo's superb assist before the Al Nassr captain netted his first league goal of the campaign 10 minutes later. Now, the pair cranked up their offence after the restart with a goal each to ease away from Al-Fateh in the final stages. But Ronaldo had the final say. Now, desperate to get his hat-trick, the veteran striker was not to be disappointed in added time as he hammered home to make it 5-0 on the night. Al Nassr began the day in 17th place in the 18-team SPL after 2 defeats to open the 2023-2024 season, and the win gave the club 3 desperately needed points to move up to 10th place. Let's have a look at badminton. Defending champions Aaron Chia and So Woo Yik were the sole Malaysian representatives to advance to the semi-finals of the 2023 World Championships in Copenhagen, Denmark. The country's top men's doubles pair, Meanwhile, the country's top women's doubles pair, Perlitan and M. Tina's impressive run at the 2023 World Championships in Copenhagen, Denmark, came to an end after being eliminated in the quarterfinals last night. World number 11, Pearly and Tina, fell just short in their ambitious bid to become the first Malaysian women's doubles medalist at the championship since its inception in 1977. They were defeated by China's Zhang Shuxian and Zheng Yu, who recovered from a first set loss to win it 17-21, 21-17, 21-19 in 76 minutes at the Royal Arena. The Chinese pair will face their compatriots and first seeds Chen Qingchen, Jia Yifan in the semi-finals. Now, a win could have guaranteed Pearly and Tina at least a bronze, but they went down fighting yet again, their 4th defeat in as many encounters. It was nonetheless a commendable effort from Pearly and Tina after having ousted 2-time winners Mayu Matsumoto and Wakana Nagahara 21-14, 22-20 in the last 60. Malaysia then suffered a double blow when national mixed doubles duo and debutantes Chen Tang-jie and Toh Yi-wei were also knocked out in the mixed doubles quarterfinals. Now, Tang-jie and Yi-wei were outplayed 21-11, 21-11 by the tournament's second seeds and the last edition's runners-up Yuta Watanabe, Arisa Higashino of Japan. Now, Tang-jie and Yi-wei, Pearly Tina, and men's doubles pair Aaron Chia and So Woo Yik were the only country's representatives who made it to the last 8. Now, Aaron and Woo Yik are also defending champions of the world title. Now, life has not been easy for animals all over the globe amidst rising temperatures and climate change. Their struggles and more are told in the world around us. A region of Antarctica which saw sea ice extent crash between October and December 2022 went on to experience an unprecedented breeding failure of emperor penguin colonies where no chicks survived. Now, this was observed through new research from the British Antarctic Survey, who said they had never observed such a breeding failure at this scale in a single season. In the central and eastern Bellinghausen Sea, ice melted well before chicks would have developed waterproof feathers. Now, emperor penguins are dependent on stable sea ice firmly connected to the shore for the majority of the year. Now, sea ice extents have plummeted in Antarctica this year. As of August 2023, the Antarctic winter, when sea ice should be at its maximum extent, sea ice is at a record low. Diminishing Antarctic sea ice has baffled some scientists who point to changing wind patterns, natural variability, as well as climate change. Now, sea ice in the Arctic has also been declining dramatically, driven by the production and burning of fossil fuels, which releases greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, which heats up the planet. In the blistering heat of a Caucasian summer, Tbilisi's stray dogs and cats are struggling to survive. All year round, the Georgian capital plays host to a lively population of four-legged friends. According to activists, around 500,000 stray dogs and cats live in the country alongside 3.7 million humans. But with Georgia setting new temperatures records amid Europe's rolling heat wave, Tbilisi's animals have been suffering, prompting activists to step in. Animal Project volunteers have been out in Tbilisi giving strays water. The group hopes to persuade those Georgians who do not much care for animals to be more friendly. Now, the group hopes to persuade business owners to allow strays to shelter indoors during the hottest part of the day and to persuade the government to do more for animal welfare. The activists want more funds for sterilization to reduce the number of strays, while new schemes to make it easier for people to adopt animals will help change attitudes towards strays. Britain's London Zoo held an annual weigh-in for their animals on Thursday as part of a week-long information gathering that monitors the health and well-being of over 400 species. From Sumatran tigers to stick insects, the height and weight of almost every animal were recorded by zookeepers, with some being coaxed onto scales with treats. Now, one of the zoo's Mexican red-knee tarantula weighed 35 grams, while a male western lowland gorilla weighed 196 kilograms.
We've been routinely sort of weighing our animals as much as we can because it gives us so much more information to understand what's going on with them internally. We can sort of see a lot from their behaviours and how they're responding to each other, but we also need to be responsible and know what's going on internally as well.
Now, opened in 1828 by the Zoological Society of London, or ZSL, London Zoo, which currently has around 14,000 animals, was visited by Charles Darwin while he was writing his Origin of Species, and Queen Elizabeth II is its patron. And that's it for Updates at Noon. In our top story, 3 candidates to contest in Pulai parliamentary by-elections. Do tune into Malaysia Tonight, coming up at 8:30 p.m. on TV1 and saluran Berita RTM. I'm Jessica Lee. Malaysia Madani, tekad perpaduan penuhi harapan. Thank you.